Today I'm going to show you how to add students to your class in VPORT. When you log in, you want to always just check that you are looking at the correct track, language exclamation, for this year, and you should be at the correct school and in your class. If you haven't added any students yet, you will see this Add Students button. If you click on it, you'll get a few options, but to begin with, we're going to just try and load all the students that are already existing in VPORT. So you should have a roster next to you. You can either use the full last name or just begin typing student ID number. Your best bet is to type the full student ID number so that you get exactly the correct student that you want to add. You click this arrow right next to add and you'll notice the student moves over into your class. I can continue to enter other student ID numbers and add students fairly quickly. If you see your student right there and you know their student ID, you can stop at 3. And if you make a mistake and you want to remove a student, or at any time you want to drop a student later, you could come back to the screen and just click this arrow, which drops the student and puts them back into this general population. If you had to add a student because they showed up after we did this import, then you would come up to create new students and click the add button. You would need to have all this information with you prior to entering the data, but you'd add the last name, first name, student ID, select the grade level, and the birth date in this format. You can add rows if you had to add more than 5 students, and when you're done, click Save Changes. If you are adding a student that's already existing, once you do all this, it will tell you the students in the database and maybe you entered the wrong information. Once you're done with all of that, you can save changes, and occasionally you'll get a screen like this where they can't, for some reason the birth date didn't come over and the grade level. So if that happens, just enter the correct information and the birth date and save the changes. Once you're done with that, return to your roster. I'm being impatient, so I'm going to stay on the page. And now I'm going to return to the roster. Since I'm doing this as a demonstration, I only added 2 students. The next step is to add this language exclamation student kit. Because you're just starting out, the best way to do it is to click the box right here at the top, and you'll notice it selects all your students. You'll also notice that their user IDs and passwords came in correctly. One thing to note is when you add your own students, you are going to have to change these 2 fields to match our user ID and password naming scheme, because they will just generate something random for you. Please be sure to do that. You'll have that information in front of you from adding the student, so it shouldn't be a problem. Once you're done here, if you wanted to print this information for your students, you could right here by clicking this PDF, and it would generate those little cards that you may have seen in the past, or you can just save changes. Because I can't enable your online assessments until you have your students enrolled, once you've done that, you'll want to come to schedule online assessments. And just be careful here. You want to make sure that you select the correct book and the correct benchmark. We're only assigning benchmark 1 right now. So you're going to assign the LRS Book A, benchmark 1, the TOSCRUF Book A, benchmark 1, and the TWS Spelling Book A, benchmark 1. Once you've clicked all 3 of those, you want to save changes. Now obviously if you're doing this at a higher level, you may select Book C. And that's it. Your students are set to log in and take the benchmark assessments. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Thanks.